Jennifer Hudson takes Stephen Colbert to church.
If I wasn't a Christian when that song started, I would be when that song was over.
Oh, glory!
Plus, author and speaker Kristi talks transformation on today's 700 Club Interactive. Well, good morning and welcome to the show. Here's Efrem Graham with this week's top 5 trending stories.
At number 5. People around the world pause to remember the 1.5 million lives lost in the Armenian genocide 102 years ago, many of them Christians. The often forgotten story in Turkey's history is the inspiration for the new film, The Promise.
The legendary Chris Myers.
Emre Ogun.
Starring Christian Bale. What's the ultimate promise in The Promise?
I think it's there's a promise that the character of Mikhail has towards the woman he's betrothed to, that he will return. But I think overall there's a promise that never to forget by the filmmakers, by Armenians in general, by anybody who has lost somebody. Whether it be through genocide or any other circumstance, a promise never to forget.
At number 4.
Please welcome back to the show, Jennifer Hudson.
Actress and singer Jennifer Hudson takes The Late Show to church.
Talk about a child that do love Jesus. He's one. Then I said, talk about a child that's looking kingdom. I ain't gonna sing the third verse, but y'all look at me. He's one.
Sharing her favorite hymn with host Stephen Colbert and swapping childhood church stories.
If I wasn't a Christian when that song started, I would be when that song was over.
Oh, glory!
At number 3, we have got the privilege of giving you a sneak peek of Shonda's new film, Enough. Take a look.
I have these well-meaning girlfriends, Lord love them. And they signed me up for Match.com and then one called Our Time, which really means there's little time left at all.
The Queen of Clean, Shonda Pierce, released the follow-up to her blockbuster documentary this week.
To tell you the truth, I didn't think we had a story until just a few months ago. And I said, there is a story here in that learning to pick up the pieces after trauma and learning to pick up the pieces of your life after being a wife for 30-some years and all of a sudden you're widowed. And then what does that look like?
At number 2.
When my parents bought me a brand new basketball, I found myself laying in bed and shooting with it.
From basketball star to filmmaker, Kobe Bryant penned the poem Dear Basketball when he retired from the game. That love letter is now a short film, premiering this week at the Tribeca Film Festival.
I started rolling my dad's tube socks and shooting imaginary game-winning shots in the Great Western Forum. I knew one thing was real.
At number 1.
2,607th star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame will go to actor Chris Pratt.
The Guardians of the Galaxy star receives his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame with his wife and son by his side. Better known for his goofy side, Chris gets a bit emotional.
I'm humbled and I feel grateful, but I'm not sure I'm worthy. I'm a man of faith and I believe that God works in mysterious ways and gives us signs and gifts in life. And those gifts oftentimes come in the form of people.
Well, he really seemed to get choked up there.
Absolutely.
All right, Efrem,
Absolutely.
What do you think of Chris Pratt? You like him?
I love him. I love him. I'm one of those who follow him on social media. I've had the honor of meeting him and interviewing him at least once. True man of faith. And he got choked up because at that point in his speech, he was sharing the fact that God had blessed and put some great people in his life, including his mom, who helped him to chase his dreams, his wife, who stands by his side, his son, who he nearly lost, who came, I think it was a month or two early when he was born. And that was when we probably best just saw his faith on display when he reached out for prayer, you know, praying for a miracle, and to see God work a miracle in his child's life, and to have that little kid there. He's just a great guy all around.
How was he discovered?
He actually, I forgot who gave him his break in film, but the film that he was given that break in actually never made it out. It was just, but he did so well. The people who were on the set working with him began to recommend him, even though that particular film never made it to the screen.
I got a feeling it might make it now.
Yeah, we need to dig it up.
Now that you got the star.
Yes. Guardians of the Galaxy coming out next Friday. We need to dig that one up for him.
Yeah, it just seems, you know, it just seems to be genuine.
It is.
And
really
just
is.
Remarkably authentic.
Yeah.
And you just go, yay. In today's world, what a great thing.
Yeah, a man who's not ashamed of his faith or his family.
Right.
Beautiful.
Shonda Pierce.
Yes.
She's been through incredible tragedy.
You know, my first question to her last week when we were talking about the documentary that came out on Tuesday was, Shonda, at the start of your last documentary, your life literally fell apart because they were doing the documentary to introduce the world to her, although she was the best-selling female comedian of all time. So she was the best-selling, but her team said, you know what, people still don't know who you are because you're largely in the church circles. So they started this documentary, and literally she lost her mom, she lost her husband. Turns out her husband was an alcoholic. All this stuff came out in the documentary. I said, so why did you want to do it a second time, considering all that happened? And then she said she didn't even think she had a story. But,
seriously?
Yeah, she said she didn't think there was a story, but her team kept saying, no, there is a story here. So she allowed the cameras to roll. And then a few months into it, she realized, okay, yeah, there is a story. I mean, she's dating again. Her friends are pushing her into online dating. It's a whole new world. And the name of this film is Enough. It premiered on Tuesday. It did so well in that one-night event. It will be back again May 9th, again for a one-night event for people to see. She is extremely funny. But even in all that comedy, she makes sure that she preaches and gives you Jesus and tells you how Jesus has made her life enough as it is, with or without a husband.
All right, well, speaking of preaching Jesus, we had a singing
Oh my goodness.
with Stephen Colbert. What?
You know, watching that entire thing, you could tell it wasn't scripted, it wasn't planned. It happened right after Easter or the week after Easter. So she goes on the show and he's talking, so what did you do for Easter? And they're just talking. And he goes, well, did you have a favorite hymn, you know, growing up? And she said, well, yeah, but I'm not going to sing that now. He goes, well, what's your favorite hymn now? And it's an old Negro spiritual. Talk about a child who love Jesus.
Yeah.
And she belted that thing out. And you literally watching it, I watched it over and over again. You can hear it underneath me. You get chills just hearing that.
Well, Jennifer's range is just phenomenal.
Amazing.
And vocal control.
Amazing.
You see why she's such a star.
Yes.
At the same time, when you hear the story, I was 7 years old, and that was my first solo in church.
Yes.
And I forgot the words, and the congregation had to help me out.
Yes, I know what that's like. I forgot my Easter speech a few times, and the congregation had to help me out as well. So
But it encourages you.
It does.
You go,
It
okay,
does.
the people are with me. And
I love it.
You know, you can go up there and make mistakes, and the earth doesn't open, even though you want it to.
You do. You want to crawl in.
You want to go away, but you get help through, and amazing things happen.
Beautiful.
Let's talk about the genocide movie, and I think, you know, to hear Christian Bale say that the message is never forget. I think a lot of people don't know the Armenian genocide.
I was really sad to say that I was not as familiar with it as I probably should have been going in. I had to research before seeing the film. Then when I did see the film, moved literally to tears watching it. The beautiful thing about that film is it took a long time to make. The former head of MGM died before production began, and he actually gave $50 million because he had Armenian heritage and wanted to see that story told as well. Told very well. All the proceeds from that film are going to charities to help people who are victims of genocide, family members who've suffered. They're still deciding exactly where it's all going to go, but that's where the proceeds are going to go. Nice to see this happen. And just talking to, I will say this, I shared the fact that I saw the film with a friend who's got Armenian heritage, and literally she began to break down in tears just hearing about it because she was happy to see that it was finally being told. People were finally being told the story.
And I remember 2 years ago, the 100th anniversary, and the Armenian community trying to get publicity, if you will, so that people can remember, and being somewhat frustrated that it didn't really take off. And here we have a film. Do you think it's going to be big? Have you seen it?
I have seen it. It did not do as well as they would have liked at the box office initially. The good news is it's still in theaters and available now. People are coming out in support of it. Some people you may be surprised who are supporting it. Kim Kardashian, for example, has come out in support of the film. Her great-grandparents are of Armenian heritage, and she says that...
And they got out.
They got out, and literally they got out
because... If they hadn't got out...
They got out because a kid came to the church that they were in and with a letter essentially saying, you're going to be killed, get out, move to Los Angeles, told the members of the congregation, and they were among those people who did escape that family.
Yeah. I think we need to keep in mind some real big facts about that genocide. The first one is Adolf Hitler referred to the Armenian genocide as saying no one remembers that. And he did that in the 1930s. As a justification that it would be okay to kill the Jewish people throughout Europe, that no one would remember because no one remembered the Armenian genocide. Another big fact to recognize is in today's world, there are ongoing genocides. You look at the ethnic cleansing, the religious cleansing that is currently happening in the Middle East.
Absolutely.
It's ongoing, and ongoing persecution of the Armenian community, whatever is left of it in Turkey, as well as the Kurdish community. That's happening right now.
Right now, absolutely.
You know, just 2 days ago there was bombing of Kurds, and you go, okay, what will we ever learn? Will it ever stop? Will we not stand up in our generation and say enough?
We need to. It's just sad to know that this is continuing.
I think I'm preaching.
You are. Beautiful. we like it.
All right. Well, if you want all the latest on positive and uplifting entertainment news, Efrem Graham hosts a weekly show. It's called Studio 5, and you can watch it on Roku, Apple TV, or go to cbn.com/Studio5. Well, still ahead, after losing both his parents, a little boy in Ukraine suffered from terrifying nightmares. Now he sleeps like a baby. Hear how he went from fearful to fearless right after this. Well, I encourage you to see this wonderful movie. It's only one night. It's going to be May 23. It's In Our Hands, The Battle for Jerusalem. And if you want to understand the headlines that we're seeing today about Jerusalem, about the division, about what the UN is voting, about moving the embassy, the U.S. Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, you need to know the history. And this movie will give it to you. It's In Our Hands, The Battle for Jerusalem. If you want tickets, go to inourhands1967.com. Just type in your zip code and you'll be able to buy tickets online. There's also group sales available, so if your church or synagogue wants to attend as a group, there's discounts in some areas, depends on the zip code. So all of that is there on the website, inourhands1967.com. Well, Nikita is a boy in Ukraine who lost both his parents within a matter of months. The trauma left him fearful and troubled by terrible nightmares. Then one day, Nikita saw an episode of Superbook that set him free from fear and gave him peaceful sleep.
10-year-old Nikita is a casualty of the war in Ukraine. His father died in the war, and several months later, his mother went missing. She is presumed to be dead.
I cry at nights because I have no mother.
After Nikita lost his parents, his grandparents took him in.
He began stealing pictures of his mom and dad from me and putting them under his pillow. Then he began to have nightmares so severe that he screamed and ran out into the night. I sat awake all night in the armchair by his bed to bring him comfort.
I never remember these nightmares when I woke up in the morning.
The emotional stress and loss of sleep affected Nikita's schoolwork. His teacher noticed the change.
He began to perform poorly and always seemed afraid.
Then Nikita's grandmother heard about summer camps provided by CBN for children traumatized by the war. She enrolled her grandson right away. Nikita enjoyed playing games and learning new songs and dances, but his favorite entertainment was viewing episodes of CBN's new Superbook program. One episode became very special to him.
I love the episode where God uses Moses to set the people free from Pharaoh. I learned that God could free me from my fear and nightmares.
So Nikita prayed to God for help.
God answered my prayers. I don't have nightmares anymore. I'm not afraid. I sleep peacefully now.
His nightmares are gone, all thanks to God. Nikita is a good student now. Everything is fine with him.
Nikita's grandparents became Christians because of what they saw God do for Nikita through the Superbook program.
Thank you so much to all the people who helped us. God healed and changed Nikita and all of us too.
Thank you for making this cartoon to help kids live the right way and not be afraid.
Lives are being transformed through the power of the stories of the Bible. And if you want to see the stories of the Bible get to the children of the world, all you have to do is join the Superbook DVD Club. Now, we're 43 languages into this series, and we have a wonderful broadcast map showing all the different places where Superbook is being aired so that children can understand the stories of the Bible. 43 languages so far. We're on our way to 55 languages by the end of the year. Once we hit that, we want to hit every broadcast language, and then we want to hit every language with at least 100 million speakers, and you can be a part of it by joining the Superbook DVD Club. Now, what happens when you join? For a gift of $25 or more, we'll send you not just one copy, but 3 copies of the latest episode. We just started season 4. And we're on our way to season 5, and we want to get all the stories of the Bible for children. We want to get it in a way that they can understand and understand in their own language. So when you join, we'll send you this latest episode, which is Superbook Explorer. There's actually 2 episodes in it, as well as the archaeology and the theology of the episode, so you can have a Sunday school with your children about these stories. It's all yours when you join. Call us, 1-800-700-7000. Well, do you need a total life transformation? Kristi Wimber says it starts with one word, surrender. She joins us live, so stay with us. Well, author and pastor Kristi Wimber says transformation begins with a surrendered will. She admits obeying God's call in your life won't be easy. But as her late father-in-law, John Wimber, used to say, find where God is and get behind what He's doing. He always wins. Take a look.
The late John Wimber was a beer-chugging, chain-smoking musician who imagined his life would be one party after another. But God had a different plan. John became one of the founding leaders of the Vineyard, one of the fastest-growing church planting movements in the world. He passed away in 1997, but his daughter-in-law, Kristi, is carrying on his legacy. In her latest book, Transformed, Kristi shares how we too can be changed by the power of God.
Well, Kristi, welcome back.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Have you. It's been a while.
It's been a while, yeah.
How long has it been?
Too many years.
Too many years?
Yeah, too much
What have you
time.
been up to?
Well, I've just been busy traveling the world, preaching all over, and hopefully advancing the kingdom in all kinds of different ways.
Okay. Yeah. Are you finding out where God is and what He's doing?
Well, I hope God's in me. So wherever I'm going, I'm hoping that I'm taking God with me. But yeah, it's quite remarkable what's happening around the world.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, I'm in quite a few different things, but I was just talking a bit earlier how exciting it is of what God's doing in Europe. Mm-hmm. And just seeing the whole of the church come together and, cross over denominations, and for the sake of unity and for the sake of, Jesus coming and moving and on the church.
That's a new story.
That is a new story.
Most Americans would say, when you talk about Europe, they would talk, well, it's kind of a wasteland for the church. There's nothing really going on. But you're saying no.
I'm saying no.
God's at move.
Yeah, and that's actually what I was just talking about briefly, because I'm very encouraged about what I see around the world, especially in Europe, actually, with the church, and just the whole picture of unity. I've literally never seen it like this ever before.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's bringing the unity?
Well, I think it goes to the leaders, doesn't it? Where the leaders are willing, to humble themselves and come together, and what they're doing is not the most important thing that's happening. It's just one of the things that God's doing. So what I'm seeing is the leadership is willing to kind of lay down their own, not so much the ministry, but lay down their own agenda, so to speak.
Yeah, it's more about agenda.
More about agenda, coming together, and for the sake of the bigger picture. Yeah.
Okay.
It's beautiful.
What's going to happen there? What do you predict?
I don't know. I mean, well, I've been giving to it for quite a number of years, but specifically in the last, 5 or 6 years, because I really do believe that God is moving there in great power, and lots of churches are being planted. So for me, when there's churches being planted as well, that's a really good sign, because it shows that it's not just about an event, but that the local church is being built, and so that's exciting for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your book, Transformed. Okay. Just came out yesterday.
Yes.
So, yay.
Yay.
Why a book right now for you?
Yeah, well, it's never a good time. I mean, that's really the truth. It's never like a good time.
How did you find time to write?
Well, I mean, that's a good question. I think I had to make it a priority. And, I had to take a bit of time off just to really focus on it. But I did it because I really felt like the Lord wanted me to do it. And so I was really intentional with that. And I needed to focus because in the book, I'm a little bit more vulnerable about my own life, because I felt like that was important, what I'm talking about, that I need to be a little bit more vulnerable about my own weaknesses and the things that I felt like the Lord was taking me on a journey of deeper surrender. And so in order to do that, you got to walk through it. And so you have to be intentional with that. But also, I just felt like it was a bit therapeutic as well. And it was just the right time. It just felt like this was the Lord. This is the right season for this.
Okay. What in your life, what are the points of surrender for you?
Well, I think it's ongoing. That's why I think that transformation is something that's a journey. It's not a destination. Like, we know where we're going, right? Hopefully. But the journey can be quite different than what we ever sign up for. So we think we're saying yes to one thing, right? And saying yes to God. And then we go on this completely different journey. And so for me, it's like this daily surrender of saying yes to the Lord. And it just turns out different than what we think, So I think it's the bigger picture of understanding that when we surrender to the Lord, it is an act of worship. And it's saying yes to God, time and time again.
What do you think the biggest mistake Christians make in this? Because I know for me, thinking that I had done it was a stumbling block. Thinking that I had already gotten to that point of surrender. And I've had some pretty significant ones where dying of cerebral malaria and you surrender. But then the temptation to pick your life back up and say, well,
That's
time
the temptation.
For me.
That's the temptation, isn't it?
But it's so casual to do that and not even have a temptation moment. You just wake up one morning and say, well, I'm
doing pretty well.
Yeah, I don't really feel like whatever. And that dying daily is difficult
key.
To do.
It is difficult to do. And I think we do get good at leading our own life, especially if we've been saved a long time. I think we can function out of what we already know, rather than functioning out of God's presence and what is God saying today and where is God taking me today. Because I've never once gone before the Lord and it's been like, oh yeah, everything's great. You know what I mean? Like, if you ask the Lord what's wrong with you, He's going to tell you. So I've found that a big part of that.
He'll do it gently.
But part of that is transformation, because if the Lord's showing it to you, if He's revealing something, it's because He wants to heal it, right? So it's actually, I think, mercy of when we live our lives from that place of surrendering, that it's not like, oh, I have to do this. It's like, this is just my response of worship to the Lord. And in turning towards Him, that He's going to show me things about myself, that He's going to cause me to grow up in different ways that I probably wouldn't otherwise.
Well, I know it's in the last chapter of the book where you talk about knowing God's will. And that seems to be such a, particularly in the charismatic community of America, such a drive.
Yes.
What's the word of the Lord for me, or what's the will of God for me? And what do you say to somebody that says they haven't discovered that?
Yeah, I would say, I think sometimes we're looking for something ideal, and there is no ideal situation. I think when it comes to calling, God creates us and He calls us. And I think that finding that road of our calling, so to speak, is found in the next step of obedience. So I think sometimes we get ahead of the game, or we think we want to do something. You think you want to do something, but it's not ideal. And it is an illusion that, bigger is better, or if I just get over here or just had these friends or whatever. I think this track is just obeying God in the next step, just saying yes to Him in everyday life.
Okay.
Yeah.
For you, how did you discover that you were called into ministry?
Well, I don't think I discovered it. I think it just got revealed to me in those steps, because I think things get revealed by God's Spirit. If I discovered it, it would be what I want. So I don't feel like I pick calling. I feel like calling actually picks me. If I'm walking in what God's called me to do, then He's going to lead me into my calling. And so I think to live from that place is actually more, it causes me to live more free, because it doesn't put the pressure on me. Like, I don't have to make this happen. I don't have to make this calling happen. I don't have to be this person. I just have to obey God. And when I obey God, He leads me into my calling.
It's been tough for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, of course it has. It has been tough.
Did you ever have a moment where you thought it would be better not to obey?
Only one. Only one.
Multiple moments?
I mean, I'm like, the funny thing about me is that when I drive, I'm always talking to the Lord. So I tend to talk to the Lord when I'm driving, and I look crazy, right?
You ever miss your exit?
Yeah, of course I have. So I think there's been lots of things where I've just talked to the Lord where, Lord, I don't want to do this. I don't feel like I want to do this. Are you sure this is you? And there's times when I'm like, I really don't want to do what I feel like God's leading me in to do. And the Lord reminds me of that scripture in Ezekiel where He says that He puts His Spirit inside of us that even helps us obey. And I pray that, honestly, Gordon, I have to pray that almost every day, because
you need to pray that.
You need to pray it, but sometimes you got to pray it more, because sometimes you don't really want to do what you feel like God's wanting you to do.
Because it's His will that enables you to do that.
Yeah, and I'm the one that needs to transform into that. I'm the one that needs to conform to what He's saying.
As you can tell, we can talk a long time,
yeah.
But we're out of time. I want to encourage you to get a copy of Kristi's new book. It's called Transformed, and it's available wherever books are sold. Here's a word from Romans. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is.